The steak knife freezes midway through the meat when my son asks the question, "Dad, do you really think Mom's boss sees you as competition?" He pauses, letting the words hang in the dining room air thick with wine and pretense. Because, honestly, he probably sees you more as staff. The blade hovers above the porterhouse, my knuckles white against the handle. Across a mahogany table, Denise's lips curve into something resembling a smile. Superior, dismissive, devastating in its casual cruelty. She doesn't contradict him, doesn't even glance my way. Steam rises from my plate, but the room grows colder. My son continues cutting his own meat, oblivious of the landmine he's detonated. 17 years old, and already wielding words like scalpels, carving away at what little dignity his mother leaves me. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Morris says. Denise launches into another story about her boss. Morris said Morris believes. 3 mentions of his name before the salad course ends. 3 mentions while my name stays buried in silence. I resume cutting the steak, each slice precise and deliberate. The knife slides through flesh like it's practiced this motion before, like it knows something about cutting through things that resist. His visionary plan to restructure the marketing and development departments. Denise's voice carries the breathless excitement she used to reserve for our anniversary dinners. Complete integration, streamlined oversight, revolutionary thinking. Revolutionary. I swallow the word along with a piece of meat. 7 months ago, I drafted those exact restructuring plans. Anonymous submission to the executive suggestion box. My handwriting disguised. My ideas wrapped in corporate buzzwords to hide their origin. The plan Morris now claims as his own. The dining room chandelier casts shadows across my wife's animated face. She gestures with her wine glass, red liquid sloshing dangerously close to the rim, painting the air with her enthusiasm for another man's stolen brilliance. More wine, dear. I offer, my voice steady as a surgeon's hand. Morris says moderation is key to clear thinking. She doesn't extend her glass. Morris says. Morris thinks. Morris breathes, apparently, and the world reorganizes itself around his oxygen consumption. The phone buzzes against the sideboard. Denise's hand moves before the second ring, muscle memory guiding her to what matters most. She glances at the screen, and her entire posture transforms. Shoulders straightening, head tilting, voice dropping to honey-coated warmth. Marketing department, this is Denise. But the laugh she releases into the receiver belongs to someone else entirely. Someone I used to know, someone who used to laugh like this for me. The sound drifts across the table like smoke from a fire I didn't realize had gone out. My son scrolls through his phone, thumb moving in rhythmic swipes. Young enough to ignore the theater playing out before him, old enough to participate in its destruction. I need to review some contract tonight. I announce to no one in particular. Neither looks up. The study door closes behind me with a soft click, and I move toward the wall safe hidden behind my framed law degree. Fingers input the combination. Our wedding date, a code chosen back, when such things held meaning. The heavy folder emerges from steel shadows. Executive Oversight Agreement, Redline Holdings. My name printed in bold letters across the signature line, followed by 4 words nobody in this house remembers. Chairman Emeritus. 10 years of patient planning spread across legal documents. 10 years of building an empire while wearing the mask of quiet domesticity. 10 years of letting them believe I was exactly who they needed me to be. My phone vibrates. Anonymous number. Anonymous message. Your wife is planning a meeting with Morris tomorrow evening. Hotel Meridian, room 412. I set the phone on the desk beside the contracts and pour 3 fingers of bourbon into the crystal tumbler Denise bought me for Christmas. The liquor burns warm against my throat, carrying with it the taste of approaching vindication. 10 years of careful orchestration nearing completion. But now there's something extra to consider. Something personal wrapped inside the professional destruction I've been crafting. The bourbon disappears in one swallow. Tomorrow, everything changes. The Hotel Meridian's valet parking lot becomes my theater of observation at 6:15 the next evening. Her silver BMW glides between the luxury vehicles like a predator among prey, chrome catching the amber streetlights. Denise emerges wearing the black dress I bought her for our anniversary, the one she claimed made her feel powerful. Tonight, she wears it for Morris. She disappears through revolving glass doors, heels clicking against marble with the confidence of someone who believes she controls the game. 20 minutes pass before I follow. The elevator hums a mechanical lullaby while I ascend to the 4th floor, each floor a countdown to revelation. My phone buzzes with a text from an old contact in corporate security. Marcus owes me 3 favors from a merger deal 5 years ago. The first favor delivered the room number. The second favor grants me access to surveillance footage within the hour. Room 412 sits at the corridor's end, its brass numbers catching fluorescent light like an accusation. I press my ear to the door. Morris's voice filters through expensive wood, deep and theatrical. The quarterly reports show we're ready for the transition. Your husband's consultation period can end naturally. Consultation period. They discuss my professional execution, like ordering room service. He won't suspect anything, Denise replies, her voice carrying a cold satisfaction I've never heard before. 22 years of marriage, and he still thinks I need his protection. Pathetic, really. 22 years. She remembers our anniversary date better than I thought. When I consolidate power next month, you'll have the executive director position. Morris's words drip with promise and ambition. Full authority over strategic planning and implementation. We'll finally have someone competent making real decisions. Competent. The word hits like a physical blow. My thumb finds a security contacts number, typing out a message with surgical precision. Need audio recording, room 412, Hotel Meridian. 3rd favor called. The response arrives within minutes. 30 seconds. I retreat to the emergency stairwell, counting heartbeats against concrete walls. 37 seconds later, my phone buzzes with an audio file attachment. Crystal clear conversation, time-stamped and verified. Their voices emerge from the speaker like confessions at Judgment Day. Removing him from any future company decisions entirely, Morris continues. The board meeting next week will formalize everything. He'll receive a generous severance package and quietly disappear from Redline Holdings. Denise laughs, sharp, delighted, merciless. He actually believes he matters. Sits in his little study, playing with contracts like a child with toys. If he only knew how irrelevant he's become. Irrelevant. The word echoes through my chest cavity, rattling against ribs and settling into my stomach like swallowed glass. I close the audio file and open my secure messaging app. The contact labeled Legal Catalyst receives a simple message. Trigger Clause 14. Silent to active transition. Execute immediately. The timestamp reads 11:47 p.m. By morning, Morris's world will reorganize itself around reality he never saw coming. I drive home through empty streets, my headlights cutting through darkness like truth through deception. The house is quiet and dark when I arrive. Denise won't return until midnight, her alibi a fabricated dinner with college friends. The study welcomes me back, and I pour another bourbon while reviewing the Redline Holdings acquisition documents from 8 years ago. Every signature, every clause, every carefully constructed legal mechanism designed for this exact moment. My phone displays 17 missed calls from Marcus by 6 a.m. I ignore them all. The real theater begins when Morris receives his emergency board meeting summons at 6:03 in the morning. The secretary delivers it personally, along with confused explanation about procedural irregularities and activated oversight clauses. Morris will spend exactly 11 minutes reading the legal documentation before panic sets in. 11 minutes to realize the quiet man he's been planning to eliminate owns the company he's been trying to steal. The bourbon tastes sweeter when seasoned with approaching justice. Outside my window, dawn breaks across a world about to discover the difference between perceived power and actual control. Morris's first panic call to Denise comes at 6:03 precisely. I don't answer my phone when she tries, calling me 17 seconds later. Some conversations require perfect timing, and this morning belongs to revelation. The boardroom doors swing open at exactly 9 a.m., and 11 faces turn toward me with expressions ranging from surprise to terror. Morris sits at the head of the table, my table, his face the color of spoiled milk. The emergency summons arrived 3 hours ago, but he's only now beginning to understand the magnitude of his miscalculation. Gentlemen, ladies, I take my rightful seat, the leather chair molding to my frame like it's been waiting 8 years for this moment. Thank you for accommodating this emergency session. Victoria Chun, head of legal, slides a manila folder across the mahogany surface. Her hand shakes slightly. She remembers the acquisition documents, remembers helping draft the sleeping shareholder clause back when Morris was nobody's concern. The comprehensive audit begins immediately. I announce, my voice carrying the weight of absolute authority. Every appointment, every decision, every contract approved in the last 5 years requires review. We'll start with the marketing department. Murmurs ripple around the table, like water disturbed by thrown stones. Morris attempts to stand, his chair scraping against hardwood. This is highly irregular. The board protocol clearly states. The board protocol defers to majority shareholder oversight. I don't raise my voice. Authority doesn't require volume. Clause 14 activated at 11:47 p.m. yesterday evening. All previous operational agreements are suspended pending review. I activate the conference room's projection system. Financial documents fill the wall-mounted screen. Bank transfers, shell company registrations, falsified vendor agreements. Morris's corruption spreads across the display like cancer cells under a microscope. Exhibited through M-Detail Systematic Fund Diversions through Clearwater Solutions, a company registered to... I pause, consulting my notes. Morris Blackwood's mother-in-law. Creative approach to embezzlement, Morris. Almost artistic. His lawyer whispers frantically in his ear, but the man's face tells a story. There's no legal escape from documented theft. The second projection displays hotel surveillance footage. Morris and Denise, their faces clear despite the timestamp. The audio file plays next, their voices filling the boardroom with casual cruelty and calculated betrayal. Your husband's consultation period can end naturally. Morris's recorded voice announces to the silent room. Pathetic, really. Denise's laugh echoes from hidden speakers. The board members exchange glances heavy with understanding. Professional betrayal, they might forgive. Personal humiliation of the chairman? Unforgivable. Director Harrison speaks first. Motion to remove Morris Blackwood from all positions effective immediately. Seconded. Director Palmer's voice cuts through Morris's attempted protest. The vote passes 11-0. Morris doesn't get to participate in his own destruction. Security arrives before he can gather his belongings. They escort him through the same doors where he entered believing himself untouchable, his lawyer trailing behind like a funeral procession. The intercom crackles to life. Mrs. Blackwood to the boardroom, please. Denise enters wearing her professional armor, navy suit, confident stride, the smile she reserves for conquering rooms full of men. The smile dies when she sees me at the head of the table. Please sit. I gesture to the chair Morris vacated, still warm from his panic. The audio file plays again. Her voice, her words, her laughter at my expense. She watches herself destroy our marriage through speakers that carry every syllable with courtroom clarity. This evidence suggests corporate conspiracy and breach of fiduciary duty. Victoria Chun reads from prepared legal documents. The board votes to suspend your current position pending internal investigation. Denise's face transforms through several emotions, shock, anger, desperate calculation. She tries to speak, but the recording continues playing her own words about my irrelevance. Effective immediately, your transferred consultative status under direct supervision, I announce. Your access credentials are revoked. Your company vehicle returns to the motor pool. Your office contents will be boxed and delivered. She opens her mouth to protest, but I raise my hand. The audit will determine whether criminal charges apply. Until then, you remain employed at the company's discretion. The boardroom empties around us. Directors filing out like witnesses leaving execution. Only Denise and I remain, separated by mahogany and 22 years of accumulated lies. Who are you? She whispers. I smile for the first time in months. I'm the man you should have respected. My son's Jeep crunches across the gravel driveway at 4:30, his music cutting through suburban silence before the engine dies. He stops walking when he sees his mother. Denise sits in her BMW with the engine running, her forehead pressed against the steering wheel. Even through tinted glass, her shoulders shake with the rhythm of someone whose world collapsed in a single morning. Dad. His voice carries confusion and something else. Maybe the first seeds of respect I've heard in years. Garage, I say, walking past her car without acknowledgement. The overhead door rumbles open, revealing 22 years of accumulated suburban camouflage. Lawn equipment, holiday decorations, boxes labeled in Denise's precise handwriting. All of it hiding the steel safe embedded in the concrete foundation. My fingers work the combination while my son watches. The heavy door swings open, revealing what his mother never bothered to discover. Redline Holdings Incorporation documents. Board meeting minutes spanning 8 years. Acquisition contracts bearing my signature as primary shareholder. Photographs from executive dinners where I stand among men who control billions, men who shake my hand and remember my counsel. Jesus Christ. He lifts a framed photo showing me with Winston Hartford, the governor's chief financial advisor. Is this real? Your mother thought I was decoration at those company events. Arm candy for her networking ambitions. I hand him the primary shareholder agreement. She introduced me as her husband, the accountant. Never mentioned my name to her colleagues. His hands tremble slightly as he reads legal documents that redefine everything he thought he understood about his family. The USB drive contains the hotel recordings. He listens with growing horror as his mother's voice fills the garage, each word carving away another piece of the woman he thought he knew. She called you pathetic. His voice cracks on the word. 22 years of marriage, and she never asked what I did during those late nights in the study. Never wondered why executives call the house. Never questioned the source of our comfortable lifestyle. A mass termination memo sits on my phone, sent 30 minutes ago. Department heads connected to Morris's corruption schemes receive identical messages. Immediate dismissal. Pending legal review, security escort from the premises. The local business journal publishes their breaking news alert at 5:15. Silent majority shareholder emerges in Redline Holdings shakeup. The article mentions a mysterious executive who operated behind the scenes for nearly a decade. My son reads over my shoulder, his expression shifting from shock to something approaching awe. Winchester Academy called you a quiet genius in the alumni newsletter 3 years ago. He says suddenly, I thought they meant your tax preparation skills. Tax preparation. His mother's explanation for my evening work sessions. Her dismissive answer to his childhood questions about daddy's job. Tomorrow, you start an internship in strategic development. I tell him, time you learn what real leadership requires. What about Mom? We both turn toward the BMW, where Denise remains motionless against the steering wheel. Her phone glows through the windshield. Probably 17 missed calls from Morris, her career, her carefully constructed identity, all evaporating in real time. Your mother made choices based on what she thought she deserved rather than what she earned. I close the safe, the steel door sealing away evidence of a secret life she never bothered to discover. She confused drama with power, volume with authority. The garage door rumbles close behind us as we walk toward the house. Will she ever forgive you? He asks. I pause at the threshold, considering the question. Through the kitchen window, I see Denise finally emerging from her car, mascara tracking dark lines down her cheeks. The question isn't whether she'll forgive me, I say, opening the door to a house that will never sound the same again. The question is whether I'll forgive her. My son follows me inside, and for the first time in 17 years, he walks behind me instead of around me. Some lessons require total destruction before reconstruction can begin. Winston Hartford's private dining room overlooks the city skyline through floor-to-ceiling windows, crystal and silver reflecting the lights below like scattered diamonds. I owe you an apology. Winston raises his bourbon, the amber liquid catching candlelight. 8 years I've wondered who the ghost was in our business circles. The silent partner who influenced decisions without claiming credit. His admission carries weight. Winston Hartford doesn't apologize to men he considers beneath him. You suspected? I ask, cutting into perfectly prepared Wellington. Suspected someone existed. Your strategic suggestions always arrived through intermediaries. Your financial backing flowed through shell corporations. Brilliant misdirection. He pauses, studying my face. I should have looked harder at the quiet man sitting in boardroom corners. Quiet man. The phrase no longer stings. It describes a choice, not a weakness. My phone buzzes with the day's final report. Redline Holdings stock climbed 4 points after news of the ethics overhaul reached investors. Markets respond favorably to transparency, even when it arrives through bloodshed. The house feels different when I return home at 10:15. Denise sits at the kitchen island, surrounded by legal documents and tissue boxes. Her face shows the geography of someone who discovered they've been living in a stranger's house. I need to understand, she says without looking up. How long have you been this person? I've always been this person. You chose to see something else. She laughs bitterly. 22 years of marriage, and I never knew who I was sleeping next to. You knew exactly who I was. You decided I wasn't worth your attention. The documents spread before her tell the story of our financial life. Accounts she never bothered to examine. Investments she never questioned. Income sources she attributed to tax consulting without deeper inquiry. The Morocco vacation 3 years ago. The kitchen renovation. My car. Her voice grows smaller with each realization. It all came from companies I own, decisions I make, respect I earned while you were busy dismissing me as decoration. She attempts to stand, then sits back down as if her legs refuse to support the weight of this new reality. I can't fix this, can I? The question hangs between us like smoke from a dying fire. You spent 2 decades teaching our son to see me as irrelevant. You built your identity around superiority you never earned. You planned my professional execution with a man who was stealing from my company. I pour myself coffee from a machine she bought with money I provided. Some damage can't be repaired. The final board meeting occurs Friday morning with myself as official chairman and a completely restructured leadership team. My son sits in the corner, observing real authority exercised without theatrics or raised voices. New ethics protocols receive unanimous approval. Transparent decision-making processes replace the corruption Morris cultivated. The company transforms into something worthy of its employees' trust. Any objections to the proposed restructuring? I ask the assembled directors. Silence answers, the productive kind that indicates agreement rather than fear. After the meeting, my son approaches with a stack of strategic development reports, his internship already bearing fruit. Mr. Patterson from accounting stopped me in the hallway. He says, he wanted to know if you were always this decisive. What did you tell him? I told him I was still learning who you really are. We walked to the parking garage together, our footsteps echoing against concrete walls that have witnessed the company's complete transformation. Nobody will ever call you staff again, he observes. I unlock my car, considering his words. Titles don't create respect. Son, character does. Your mother confused the two. He nods, understanding settling across his features like sunlight after storm clouds. The truth matters more than what people think they see. Some victories require patience measured in years, but they taste sweeter for the... I smile, watching him process lessons that took me decades to learn. Now you're beginning to understand. The engine starts, and we drive toward a future built on substance rather than illusion. Some victories require patience measured in years, but they taste sweeter for the waiting.